and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Cinema. As always, I'm your host, Sawyer Saintson, and tonight we have, pretty much what every, horror movie fan from, 73 and beyond, well, maybe not this last generation, but what every horror fan has probably, cut their teeth on. One of my friends was like, everyone says I saw this when I was 5. It was my first movie, type situation. So we've got The Exorcist. Now, I guess technically it's not like a horror movie is really what they were going for. It was more of a drama, based on the novel. But let's just, get into it. So release date was December 26th, 1973. Yes, the day after Christmas. Which probably, in the long run, upset some folks. But, yeah, they'll get over it. We have director is William Friedkin. Again, guys, excuse me for, this is one of my favorite movies, and, I still have trouble with people's names. So, don't come for me. Writer, of the novel and of the screenplay, of the first Exorcist and the third Exorcist, not the second one, because the studio was like, no, it doesn't have the big star in it, so we're not doing it. Which I think was a bad play on their, bad play and judgment on them. But, the studio only sees dollar signs. So, I guess you can't really fault them. Anyways, and that studio was Warner Brothers, by the way. How you gonna argue with Warner Brothers? You're not. You're just not. But anyways, so the white writer is William Peter Blatty. Or Bill Blatty, as, people call him. And special effects artist was Dick Smith. Now, you hear me, you've heard me before, Tom Savini, Rick Baker, you've heard my favorites. Who was the guru that my favorites looked up to? Dick Smith. He's pretty much the guru of all gurus when you want to think about it. He did do some things in this movie that, weren't being done at the time. So, trailblazing, I think is what, right? People call it that. Anyways, so our cast, and we'll start off with Evelyn Burston. She plays Chris McNeil, movie star, mother to possessed girl. I felt really bad for her. Just seeing something horrible, happening to your child, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's a rough go right there. She's a strong woman. And then, of course, technically, Reagan's not the, she's the focus, but the book really wasn't about her, and the movie's not, anyways, she's a supporting actress role. Miss Linda Blair Reagan, 12-year-old who's having to deal with this crazy friggin' situation. Oh yeah, by the way, if you didn't notice, I got a new background. It's a Ouija board. Let's hope we don't conjure up anything talking about The Exorcist in front of a Ouija board, huh? Yeah. Anyways, it'll be like that scene, from the movie where Father Karras is like, "Take me!" And my director starts yelling that, and all of a sudden things just go haywire. Anywho, now we have Max von Shadow. Again, guys, bad with names. He plays Father Marin. I don't know why they sent someone who looked like he was literally on his deathbed to this horrific scene. But, if he's an expert at this, then he's the expert at this, right? Right? Then we have Jason Miller as Father Karras. Love Father Karras. He's a tortured soul in this, guys. And then in 3, if you haven't seen 3, you need to see 3. 3 is so good. It follows a lot about Father Karras. We get to see him after. And you know what I'm saying, right? You know. Whew. Go see it. Anyways, and then rounding out, we've got Lee J. Cobb as Lieutenant William Kinderman. Now, technically he's like he's in the book, he's in 30, it really goes to follow him a lot in the series of events. But that's our main cast. There's some other supporting casts, but we're not going to go too deep into it. Alright, let's go and jump onto the soundtrack, shall we? So, you know the song. You know it. You love it. You hear it in your dreams. Tubular Bells, right? Right. It's fantastic. It's great. It is the creepiest thing that I've ever heard in my life set with this movie. So it was done by Mike Oldfield, and it's fantastic. But all of the other little songs that we hear that's not Tubular Bells was done by the National Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Leonard Slatkin. I think it's Slakin. So, I don't know about you guys, but I really love symphonies and just the sound of orchestra music, as well as operatic music. I think I said that right. I don't know. Opera. I love that in horror movies. I love it, and especially in something centered around a religion. Whereas a lot of this is centered around a religion. Come on, we're in Georgetown. What's in Georgetown? A big old Catholic community. A big old Catholic university, right? Right. So of course, just the sounds of that type of music just fits so well with this. Anyways, so awards. This is, look, guys, I could have been here all night just spouting off nominations that this movie has had. Not only from the year that it, came out, but also from, 2000 and something when, it was nominated for certain different things. But we're only going to go with a few little things, okay? Because I don't want to keep you here all night. So we've got the Oscars, right, from 1974. So they won Best Writing, Screenplay based on material from another medium. Of course, that went to Blatty, for, you know, his screenplay. Duh. And then it won for Best Sound, which, I mean, y'all, this drives me crazy sometimes. I know some people love it, but like, I'll have to turn the TV up like really loud to hear like what people are saying, and then literally there's like a jump scare that is the loudest thing, and it almost blows my speakers. Y'all gotta stop doing that to me. Like, stop it. Have everything within a reasonable like level of volume close to each other, so that I don't, you know, go deaf from a jump scare. Anyways, so Best Sound, and that's and then they were nominated for 8 other awards that year besides what they won. And then we've got the Golden Globes from '74 as well, where they were nominated for 3, but they won. Listen to this, that they won. Okay, so we've got Best Motion Picture, Drama category. See? They called it a drama. Best Supporting Actress, Linda Blair. Best Screenplay, we already talked about that. And Best Director. So, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Motion Picture, like, those are like some pretty, you know, big awards. And Best Supporting Actress, like for Linda, like being 12, you know, like I don't know who else she beat out that year. I didn't look at that, but I mean, come on, she was fantastic too. When she was 12. Linda's the best, by the way. Like, she's so cute. She does, even, you know, now, you know, she's so cute. She did all kinds of cute movies. Well, I guess it's not necessarily cute, some of the ones that she did. But anyways, like, love her. So I'm not really going to go, like, you know, scene by scene, because like I said, everybody knows this. But so I did watch the unrated director's cut on Amazon Prime. You're going to hear my notebook hit the floor. Good sound. So, you know, it did have some scenes in it in which, you know, the original theatrical release did not. Had a lot of, where you could see Reagan, like, slowly, like, getting, you know, more out of her normal, like, attitude and stuff, during a physical at her doctor's office. And then, some other, like, little things with the doctors, that was not in the, original theatrical release, as well as the spider walk down the stairs. Love it. Love the scene. It was great. And just, you know, and it's unrated. So, you see some of the stuff that they cut out because of, you know, needing to get a certain rating put on it. Anyways, it was not much longer than the actual theatrical release. I think it's like maybe 12 to 20 minutes more footage. So, you know, really in the grand scheme of things for a 2-hour movie, not a whole lot more. But so, what do we want to talk about? Right? Alright, well, let's go to, I guess let's talk about, you know, Father Merrin for a minute. Right? Let's talk about him for a minute. Sound good? Okay, let's do that. So, in the beginning of the movie, we see that he's in Iraq in, you know, a, what's that kind of dig called? Archaeological. You know what I'm talking about. They dig up old stuff from the ground. I have trouble with speaking sometimes. But they find some things that he immediately does not feel good about. And being in the, priesthood for as long as he has, he probably has a pretty real good, strong gut feeling, right? Right. And we just see him, in his like little day to day there, just kind of just being really out of it, taking his nitroglycerin pills. Poor guy, bad ticker. But he's real uneasy, and you see him like going across Iraq, and he comes to this statue that he seems to have been like drawn to, and it's a Pazuzu, and he just kind of sits there and stares at it for a minute. Which, I mean, it's implied that Pazuzu is the one that has, taken over Reagan, has possessed Reagan. It's not fully, like, stated in the movie, but that is what we are, led to believe. Alright, so, he leaves Iraq and he goes back and he goes to Woodstock to, work on his book before he is summoned to, Georgetown, where some shit's going down, right? And he's, suggested for this from, the fathers that be, that make decisions, the council, I guess, because he once took place in an he once proceeded over an exorcism in Africa that took like 12 days, I think. I don't know. It was long. That demon did not want to let go of that person. He liked it there. And they joke that like it almost killed him. And I'm like, you guys, one, he's not as young as what he was then. Two, he's got nitroglycerin that he's taking. You're sending him to his death. You're writing his death warrant right there, sending him into that house. Spoiler alert, it happens. He dies while Father Karras is out of the room. Demon inside of Reagan's just freaking laughing about it. Ugh, it ticks me off. Anyways, really, when you think of it, the whole movie is named after him. Like, The Exorcist. What is Father Merrin? The Exorcist. The leading, man in the Catholic Church in which these people, in the area in which these people are. Anyways. So, let's talk about Chris, right? Chris McNeil. She's in Georgetown with her daughter, filming a movie, just trying to, be the best single mother that she can be, right? Seems like they have, like a really strong bond relationship. Like, seems really good, really solid there. And she just doesn't understand, like, what's going on. She does find the Ouija board. She does ask about it. She wants to play with Reagan, and, when asked to play, like, it immediately, like, shot out of Reagan's hand to the no. And, Chris is like, well, fine, if you don't want me to play, then, whatever. And she's like, it's not me, it's Captain Howdy. Also, that's such a bad name, like Captain Howdy. Could have come up with something better. I don't know. Anyways. So, right then, you shut that shit down, right? Like, I don't know. don't have my 12-year-old playing with stuff like that. Maybe. But, but she's slowly, like, she sees every doctor in town. She sees every psychiatrist in town. She does not understand, like, why her daughter has had such, a drastic change in personality. And then she's doing things that are physically impossible, for her. And I mean, when she's sitting down and talking to Lieutenant Kinderman, you can see in the movie the exact moment where Chris realizes, like, oh shit, like, Reagan killed somebody. But she doesn't say anything to the lieutenant. She doesn't say anything to anybody about it until Father Karras. She has a complete breakdown with Father Karras. And, like any parent would, when someone is, like, basically, like, telling them, like, I don't know if I can help you. Like, I don't have any experience in this, but I can go, like, see her as, like, a psychiatrist. And, she's already seen every psychiatrist in the, like, in the Georgetown area. What are you going to do for her? That's nothing. But she has a full breakdown, and, so he agrees to go see Reagan, and, he does his thing, and, he presents his findings to the council, and they give him the okay to, work with Father Merrin, right? Oh, but, poor Chris, like, and you can see just, like, the weight of the world coming off her shoulders when, Reagan is finally released from the hold of, the demon. And it's just, like, this movie is great. It's fantastic. Like, it's fantastically done. The scenes are shot, like, amazingly. But, like, the writing and the way that the actors brought out the script is just fantastic. Like, when I was younger, I really didn't necessarily, pay attention to the nuances of the emotion and the, like, turmoil that some of these characters were going through. But now in my older, wiser state, also as my state of, being a mom myself and putting myself into Chris's shoes, that is terrifying. Terrifying. And so now let's talk about Father Karras. Because, you guys, I love Father Karras. And I love that he is, like, a tortured priest, basically. Because, at the beginning of the movie, he's talking to Father Tom in a bar, and he flat out says, like, I have lost my faith. It really didn't seem to me like Father Karras necessarily ever wanted, to go into the priesthood. But it was more like he just fell into it, being their, like, psychiatry expert, just because of, universities or whatnot, like, accepting him, or, furthermore, blah, 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 degrees. But just, he says that, and seeing the toll that his mother's state takes on him, and seeing just, he's trying to do his best for his mom. But it's just not good enough. It's just not cutting it. And also, like, his uncle, like, being like, you could have been a high-dollared, psychiatrist, and your mom could be living in a penthouse instead of this, place. It seems like he's taking on a lot more grief about this situation than really what he should, and he feels horrible about it. And he blames himself, you know, for when she passes. And then he starts, you know, having weird visions of like her and his dreams mixed in with like the coin that they found in Iraq, and, you know, just a whole bunch of like, you know, different crazy things. But, you know, of course, the demon, when they're in the middle of the Exorcist, latches on to, you know, his grief and his weakness, basically, you know, just being completely overcome with guilt of his mother's death. And, you know, I mean, he loses it a few times, you know. Father Merrin tells him, like, hey, like, don't listen to it. It's playing off of you. Don't, you know, everything it says is, you know, is lies. Some of the truth is mixed in there, but for the most part, you know, pay it no mind. And then he, like, really fully loses it when Father Merrin dies, and he, you know, basically is going to beat the demon out of Reagan. And that's when he, you know, yells at it to come into me or take me. I can't remember the exact, you know, wording there because, yeah, I'm terrible. I'm getting dirty looks from my director, who, by the way, guys, I think this is his, like, all-time #1, like, favorite movie ever. So he's giving me some looks right now. I think he's very disappointed to me. Anyways, but, like, in that moment, like, he's fully succumbed to just, like, basically all of his grief, he seems like he's just completely over it, you know, and just is like, look, like, let's get this done, you know, right before he, you know, flies out the fucking window and down the stairs. I love Father Carrots. It sucks to see, like, it sucks so hard to see that. But, like, watching, like, 3-2, though, like, see, I'm gonna keep telling you guys to go and watch The Exorcist 3. Like, it's so fantastic. You need to see it. You need to see it. And then, you know, rounding out, like, the main people of this, you know, we have Reagan. You know, I mean, poor thing is just a vessel for this, you know, evil thing that, you know, is taken over her. You know, her mom at the end says that she doesn't remember, you know, anything. Like, she tells one of the other priests that. And, but you see that, like, she focuses in on the collar, and she seems to, you know, have some recollection of what happened, because she throws her arms around him immediately and gives him a kiss on the cheek. So obviously she remembers something about, you know, someone of the cloth helping her in some situation. You know, I mean, she has to realize that in some fashion. Can only imagine what it was like for, like, Linda herself to film that at 12. Like, it's a heavy role to take on, especially with some of the more, you know, vulgar parts of it that happened. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But, like, still fantastic. Oh, and then we have, you know, Lieutenant Kinderman, who, I mean, he cracked me up every time he, like, was on screen. Just, like, basically asking everyone, like, going out to the movies. Like, that's his thing. The movies are his thing. And, you know, he tries to butter up Karis by telling him he, you know, looked like a certain actor. And, you know, then at the end of the conversation, he was like, no, I was mistaking. Like, you actually look like, you know, this person. I can't remember names, I'm sorry. But, you know, and when he meets, you know, Chris, of course, he plays it nice and calm and detective lieutenant, you know, situation. Calm and cool and collected while asking her the questions about, you know, what had happened to in the house, you know, with the director of the movie getting flung out the window. But, you know, at the end, he, like, asks her for his for her autograph. Like, he turns into, like, you know, he flips on fan mode, right? And it's just so funny. And the fact that at the end, like, you know, the priest is just like, oh, you missed him. And he's just like, oh, well, okay, like, you know, guess that's done. Like, you still had, like, a murder that happened, and, like, just all of a sudden, because they moved out, like, okay, well, wash my hands of that. Hey, Father, you want to go see a movie? Oh, not that one? You've seen it? Okay, how about lunch? Have you had lunch? And they just, like, walk off into the sunset. Like, it's such a very strange thing for, like, a, you know, lieutenant who was investigating a murder to just, you know, walk off like that. But who knows? I don't know. But I mean, this was mainly more about the characters and the depths of the characters, really. Just, you know, I mean, they all kind of had their own, like, little quirks within them that comes out, you know, because, I mean, the demon preys on, you know, what your grief and torment and, you know, all those things are, right? Right. So, anyways, Amazon Prime has the uncut director's version, or the unrated director's cut. I don't know why I keep, like, saying it wrong. So if you want to go check out that one, you should. And also go check out Exorcist 3. And what are we going to do next week? Alright, so this has been requested by a certain fan, like, you know, audience member. I'm not 100% sure if it's a horror movie. They're not either. It may or may not have vampires in it. There's a lot of questions and a lot of the jury's still out on this one, guys. But if you haven't heard of it, it's called The Reflecting Skin. May or may not be a horror movie and may or may not have vampires. I don't know. But, so...
Vigo.
Oh.
Vigo.
Sorry. Yes. We've got Vigo, I can't, you know who I'm talking about, you know, the dude from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. It's got a young Vigo in it, and, I mean, I love him, so you say, you know, he's in it, and I'll be like, alright, cool, let's watch it. Let's see what this is about. Let's just check it out. I know 2 people, like, who personally in my life that I'm connected to who saw it, and they still aren't for sure exactly what all happened. So, come with me on this ride next Saturday, and, you know, maybe we'll have answers, and maybe I'll just have more questions about what the hell that movie is. But, until then, have a good evening, sinners, and I'll see you next week. Bye.